Hello. We're in Glastonbury today. Picking. We're just going to do a quick one because we haven't got much time today. And to be honest, Glastonbury is hit and miss.
We've got some great stuff here before, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a really weird, strange. No offence if you're from Glastonbury or like Glastonbury, but I find it particularly odd.
Eclectic was the word I'd use.
Eclectic. And I'm the most eccentric person on earth.
And I say that, honestly, as I say that, there's literally a full-dressed wizard walking past.
Yes.
Am I lying?
No, that would be Merlin right there. Anyway, but it's hit and miss because you do get some really high-end stuff here, and sometimes they price it up, or the condition just isn't there, and it's like, you know, like festival, it's been worn to a festival or something like that, literally Glastonbury Festival, and it's got a hole in it or something, which, to be honest, isn't the end of the world. Austin taking pictures of the wizard isn't the end of the world. I bought a last time we were here. I got a Bamford 100% cashmere open jacket in cream, and when I got it home, I only paid $7.50, but when I got it home, I found a couple of small moth holes in the back, but I still sold it for $125
with moth holes, and the person was over the moon with it.
But that's what the kind of thing that happens in Glastonbury. It's only when you get home do you realise that, you know, there's an issue, etc.
I think a lot of the time when people are picking, I know when we are, you get in, you get out as quick as you can. You have a good look, but there's been so many times you look all over the garment and there'll still be something, even if you've not noticed it.
I find these shops are quite small as well, and they're normally very busy, so there's not, honestly, there's not
like
a lot of room to actually like
physically
inspect.
Yeah, you're right.
However, we shall try. The good thing about Glastonbury, though, in wearing a GoPro, as we were just discussing, that there's literally people dressed as full wizards, so no one's looking at a GoPro. In fact, that's probably considered normal behaviour here.
Yeah.
But we shall try. It's one of those Somerset towns that is reasonably big. So there's about, I think there's 3 or 4 that will go in today. And then normally, I don't know, like I said, they miss quite a lot, so there's a lot of stuff is well priced. But then
when you say they miss, you mean they miss good brands.
Yeah, but if they know what it is, like Mulberry around here is obviously a big name, so it's going to be priced up around here.
Of course.
So we'll see how we get on. The video we filmed yesterday should be up by now, so if you're enjoying that, then enjoy it. And
if you haven't seen it, go and see that as well.
Yeah, go look at that one, and hopefully this one will be as good. And we'll see if we can find anything. I mean, on this channel, if we can't find something, then
we won't.
We're still going to film it and do the experience, because you don't find something every time you go picking.
I think that's important. I think a lot of the YouTubers we watch, specifically pickers, sometimes, I can't remember who it was, but they do like 3, 4, maybe even 5 videos a month, and they'll kind of amalgamate all their footage. And all that does is it gives you kind of your top picks, but it's really unrealistic, because then people watch that, they go out with their bag and their £10 to spend in a charity shop and come home disheartened. It's just not, it's not a fair example.
We're going to try and get we're going to try and talk through the products as well in the shops today, if we can. I mean,
which I didn't do yesterday.
If someone's like, you know, music, or if someone's just chatting in your face, then we probably won't put that in.
Yeah, and once again, Glastonbury, the kind of people, I hate to say, but the kind of people kind of mulling around, excuse me, it's kind of, they like to have a chat. It's different,
They're chatters. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully Austin can get some footage of the actual high street itself, because it's very unusual. If anyone's ever been to Glastonbury, I say it's a theme park of aromatherapy and herbal remedies, which is really cool, but it's very different. Like,
if you want to put it this way, if you want a crystal or you want some hemp-based clothing, Glastonbury is your place.
And no shade, hemp and crystals are both fantastic.
But it was more the fact that I think that's
this
kind of area. Yeah, and the thing is, the funny thing is now, we're probably going to watch this back, and our eyes were not like this where we were yesterday.
It's fun
because there's so much going on, honestly.
I wish there was a really good like central cafe, if anyone's got any recommendations, because people watching here, I bet, is amazing. Like, amazing.
The only thing I fear here is you become one of the people by people watching.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a problem.
One of the
Anyway.
people. Anyway, so let's get to it, and we'll join you at the end probably for a haul, unless it goes disastrously wrong, and then we'll join you anyway. To let you know.
Yeah.
How to describe Glastonbury without describing Glastonbury. That would be a full-size tree going down the hill on some wheels. Nice tree though, very nice tree.
And let's all guess who got stopped behind the tree, or stuck behind the tree as the case may be. Yep, there she is.
Look at that little jog. Glastonbury's a really cool place. Like we said in the intro, it's very different. And we wanted to get as much street sort of like footage in as possible to show you. A lot of street art as well, which is pretty cool. But in terms of their charity shops, it can be really hit and miss. I find you either find really cool high-end pieces.
Like gold.
Or it's a lot
waste.
of damage. There's a lot of damage here. They're very sustainable and very like, I know it sounds funny, but like they're quite green round here.
Boho.
So that there's a lot of, they pull it out even if there is damage, whereas a lot of other charity shops obviously in other towns wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. Like, you know when you buy something which is sold as seen and you know something's up with it, and it's kind of like, guess what it is? They don't. They literally put it out in any condition.
Which is cool, because I really truly believe in sustainability.
But the prices should be reflected that way, no?
Yes, and sometimes you do get pieces home and then find out later that it's damaged, and that can be annoying. I'd rather just know straight off the bat what I got to fix, or if I can fix it.
Or ask for a price adjustment.
Or ask for a price adjustment. I don't know. I've never asked for a price adjustment in a charity shop. It's like one of those like things you don't do.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my goodness. Oh my, it's for charity, Austin.
Obviously, but I also think it's what's fair.
I probably would have looked at that Kin jumper Austin just went past. I really like reselling Kin. It's a John Lewis brand. It has a sort of mid to higher price point for a high street brand. But they normally do really nice silhouettes, and they normally use quite a nice fabric content. Menswear Express especially, I find sells quite well. So I probably would have looked at that a bit further if I had seen it originally. Next one in, and this charity shop, out of all the charity shops, you will find the most damaged stuff. I feel like a broken record, but it is just a Glastonbury trait.
Yeah, it's so true. No, there's no other area, and we cover quite a lot of different areas, kind of in the days that we do go picking. And it just, Glastonbury is so much that, isn't it?
Yeah. This one particularly, I found some really cool stuff in this one though. But yeah, I have to like spend at least half an hour looking at looking for damage in this one. Last time I was here, I picked up a cabbages and roses. Striped top.
This is a great example, isn't it, of what you just said?
Yeah, so this is a Dolce & Gabbana jacket. I would say it's mid to late 2000s. They went through a phase of actually lining their jackets with leopard print. This one is in leather, but it's pink leather. However,
like suede, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's like a nubuck, I would say.
Okay.
However, as you can see, it's sort of a faded white pink. It's meant to be quite a vibrant pink.
Bright pink, yeah.
See
like
the inside lining? Yeah. It's meant to be that colour. And I can tell from the way that the leather's tumbled with that piece that it has literally been put in a washing machine.
Yeah.
And you can wash leather. It has been known, especially within the lady collectors of handbags, that region, and that you can, in theory, wash leather. But it has to be done in a very certain manner with very certain products, and it has to be done with great attention.
And you've got to know what leather you have to start with and what coatings they do or don't have.
Yeah, whereas that one has just been put in the washing machine. It was £25, and for that piece, if it had been in original condition with the colour and no marking,
so cheap.
I probably would have retailed it for between £350 and £400. So for that £25 initial payment amount, if you will, it is well worth its money. However, due to the condition, you could probably have still got between £50 and £100 for someone who wanted to either wear it in sort of a like worn out rock star vibe, or for someone who wanted to recondition it or restore it, you probably would still be making money. It's just at this point I don't want to put £25 into something like that.
And to be honest, the only issue with that is a lot of the time they can become returns, and they were like, I'm not sure, I wasn't sure of this mark, and there were quite a few bits wrong with it.
Now, this piece is very important in general in life. You can see from the label there, we're trying to get a clear shot, it's Thierry Mugler. For anyone who doesn't know that particular designer, he's a French-based designer, if you will. He started his first collection or first line in Paris, and he's in the 70s. He's designed for a large number of fashion houses. He actually retired from fashion in the 2000s, and he recently became out of retirement to exclusively dress Kim Kardashian as his muse. Unfortunately, he passed away this past January, and since then, not only have his pieces skyrocketed, but he is actually a hugely and widely celebrated high-end designer, Thierry Mugler. I will talk about him more at the end of the video and in depth. We did pick up that piece for obvious reasons, and we found out some really, really exciting things about it once we did some research on it.
Yeah, we're kind of waiting for the end, and if you need to, skip to the end, because the prices are quite incredible also.
It's not even just the prices on pieces like that. As a collector, as you'll find out as you watch our videos, I'm a big collector of rare fashion pieces, with the intentions of starting an archive. Pieces like that one I just found in a charity shop in Glastonbury, in cases, are museum worthy. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to sell that piece because of the information we find out. However, I want to share the information with you, just in case you're lucky enough to find a piece like it, or from a similar designer of the time, and you can then decide whether you want to sell it, etc., and so on and so forth. Back to the boring shirts of Glastonbury, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why menswear can't produce some more cool things. You're letting the team down, Austin?
Once again, as I said in previous videos, it's not that. It's the people who give away their stuff to charity shops, and what ends up in charity shops, the majority of it is just generic everyday wear. Like the stuff we're looking at right now.
There's a lot of empty hangers.
There's a lot of theft in Glastonbury also.
Do you know that for sure, or do you just say that?
I'm pretty sure of that. Oh yeah, I did notice this as well. So this is a
Ted
Baker, but it's a sovereign edition. They're with a kind of lining. They're generally very, very expensive in comparison to a regular Ted Baker. I think that suit kit was $250 on the ticket, and they were looking for, like, I think 35. It had gone down from 45 maybe. Either way, where we are locally, they used to have a lot of Ted Baker, what do you call them, sample sales. So there was a lot of Ted Baker and also Paul Smith in the area. Now that label had a red marker line through it, which basically means at some point it was on sale. So I'm 99% sure that was actually a sample sale piece. And if you want a nice suit for £35-40, it's a bargain. If you're looking to resell it, maybe not so much, and quite an investment, for depending on what you'd get back, really.
You might do a little bit on it, newer tags, and obviously in that condition. However, like Austin just said, we just see so much of it in the area due to our local sample sales, if you will. And it wouldn't have been £35 at the sample sale, so you sort of resent paying that price a little bit because of that.
The other thing is with that kind of stuff, and as much as it sounds really stupid because a lot of it will go further afield than where we are, it's just when we actually do come to see it in charity shops, we almost begrudge paying it because we know what it has cost at some point. Oh, these were kind of cool. These were £49 though. They are kind of penny loafer versions, but the ones I just picked up originally are sandals, or like kind of what would you call them?
Sandals.
Yeah, but they're chunky sole, Dr. Martin. But they were tiny size, and they were, like I say, $49.99.
They were probably about a size 1. I love a Doc Martens sandal, and I think there's actually...
You had a pair like that once, didn't you?
I buy a new pair every summer from a charity shop, and then I sell them by the winter. It's just like some weird tradition I've got going on in my head now. Those ones were like a purple, which was quite nice. I don't think we're quite in the season for sandals, but even if we were in the season for sandals, I wouldn't be paying $49.99. I'd look to get about £60 out of them, and in that size probably about £50. So there's not, you know.
I think here's another look at them actually.
I'm looking at the penny loafers here. These were a bit cheaper for no apparent reason. These were $32.99. And they were a size 7, which is my personal size.
Yeah, and here were the
but they had a lot more wear. So I don't know, $32.99 just wasn't the price for me. I like to pay £15 and under for my Doc Martens. That's just personal preference. I got a really nice pair of blue suede ones that I sold a couple of weeks ago, and I paid £7 for them, for example.
Yeah, they were boots.
They were really nice. They were a men's size, and they sold for £60 quite quickly.
Yeah, there was.
This is the top of Glastonbury High Street. It's a bit quieter up here. That's a really big health food shop if you're into like vegetarian, vegan cuisine.
It's like an earthier version of like
Whole Foods.
Oh, Whole Foods, but it's like it's kind of a lot more. Yeah,
it's like an independent Whole Foods.
Exactly that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't have all the fresh fruit and like, you know, the strawberry tasting pineapple and all that stuff, but it's pretty cool.
So this shop is when we're going in now is quite interesting, just in as much as they buy bundles, and when I say bundles, like wholesale bundles. So they'll say the sign as you go in now vintage, and they'll buy kind of a chunk of T-shirts which they'll tie-dye, or a chunk of that's a classic example there I'm showing now, which I'm doing terrible with the camera work, but I think that was like $29.99, $39.99. It's just, honestly, it's kind of extortionate. I mean, they aren't even Depop prices, they're more expensive than, and for some reason they just keep getting these bundles. I don't know if it's I've noticed a particular kind of charity shop. When I say kind, I mean the brand, the company who do it. They have like racks of Converse and racks of Vans, and it just, even these tie-dyes, there are so many. They're just random T-shirts with they've tie-dyed.
It's not, to be honest, for me, it's not even the prices they charge, because obviously, once again,
Sorry, team.
These charity shops aren't here to feed
No.
resellers, but they're retail prices. However, I resent it because it's so obviously a Chinese bundle or whatever it is, and
it's not a thought-out collection,
it's
is it?
not
That's
a
the point.
thought-out process. They just, half it's not vintage at all, and they market all as vintage. Yeah, and you know,
it would be like a 2018 volleyball girls shirt from a championship, which they've tie-dyed and charge you £25 for. It just seems insane.
When I say Chinese bundles as well, it's not, you know, I'm not discriminating or anything like that. I'm just saying it's an unthought about bundle from a mass-produced country.
Chinese blanks, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Blank T-shirts which have been originally made in China.
Cheap mass-produced.
Yeah.
Pieces.
You're not getting high quality garments. That's what you're saying.
No, because there are like bundle companies in the UK that you can handpick, and you know, a lot of YouTubers have used them, etc.
Or American made stuff, denim, stuff like that.
And
but these are cheap T-shirts.
This is the actual men's section,
which actually surprisingly looks totally different to what we just saw 2 minutes ago.
It's not much better though.
No, but in fairness, once again, the prices here I do find very high.
We did buy Burberry Mac here the last time we were here.
But that wasn't necessarily cheap, was it?
It was £40, which for, you know, is quite expensive for a charity shop. I know a lot of people that wouldn't pay £40 for it.
We would have got a lot more than that for it. Just in general, I feel like a lot of people who shop in charity shops over and above resellers are not paying £45 for a Mac.
When Austin looks through the ties like this, it means may seem like an unusual way to look through ties, but we normally look for prints and patterns, and we normally look for high quality silk. It's something that we try and do by eye, just to cut down on time.
Yeah.
And you can normally tell via a number of different ways. So if anyone's interested in like a quick how to spot a nice tie, then I'm more than happy to do a little
tutorial or video?
Yeah, a little tutorial or video on that. It just makes your processing your sort of picking quicker.
Yeah, do you know what? You say that. I mean, it's once again, it's like, it's what you know, I guess. But there were like 15, 20, 30 ties there, and I probably looked at 2 or 3 because the rest, without being rude, were clearly cheaper, not of a good quality, and the kind of brands I would be looking for, you know, something in kind of luxury and more high end. They just wouldn't have those prints out there.
However, I've never found an Hermes tie. We just done Glastonbury, and Austin forgot the chest mount in Glastonbury, so he had to do like a wonderful
Hand cam job.
So what we've done is popped home quickly. We're really close to Wales, so we come back out to do Wales with the dinghy, and we got one really cool thing in Glastonbury, but it wasn't that fruitful, and so we'll see now what we pick up in Wales. Hopefully a few more bits.
And either way, whether we get some stuff here or we don't, we'll do a kind of what do you call it, a conclusion, or kind of like a
Holy haul.
Yeah, a haul.
A holy haul at the end of this one.
With whatever we get here, if we do, and if not, like you say, what we picked up in Glastonbury.
We're now in Wales, as previously mentioned, which I think is the smallest city in the world. No.
In the UK?
In the UK, sorry. I don't know. The world is a bit extreme.
That's a bit extreme.
And it's normally really good. We love Wales.
The irony is, though, the actual cathedral, which makes it the city, is like, takes up 90% of that small city.
Yeah, it's massive. We only visit, I think, 3 today, maybe 4.
Yep.
And there's about 5 or 6 in Wales. But I find these ones at the bottom of town, just secret information, are a bit better.
They are.
Austin just looking at a Whistles coat now, which we do come back to. I love picking up coats and knits all year round, to be honest with you, because we live in the UK, and let's face it, we have a very short summer most of the year. So I like to keep a number of knits and coats in stock, and I find they sell all year round.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially from nice brands. I don't tend to pick up Whistles as much anymore, just because of the sell-through rate. I find a bit slower. However, if it's an exceptional piece, I make it that rule for any basically high-end high street women's brands. If they are exceptional pieces, then I will pick them up.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You know, you're not going to grab every plain t-shirt you see, for example, from them, because once again, Whistles in and around where we are, specifically because there's some stores more locally, or have been stores more recently for Whistles. People are aware of the prices, so they end up being very costly for just basics, if nothing else.
Once again, we did have a Whistles outlet next to where we live until very recently, so we find a lot of toast, a lot of Whistles, and a lot of those kind of brands due to the outlet located near us.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, just thinking about it as well, with the toast and the Whistles thing. When those brands were kind of really selling fast, like 2-3 years ago, like they were like what I call bread and butter, like flying off the shelves fast, you know, a couple of years ago. What happened around by us specifically, because they have those stores and the outlets, what you just said, everyone knew of them, and they were aware of it price-wise. So when they priced them, they were pricing them so high, it almost became obsolete.
Yeah, it became not worth us picking them up anymore. God, that was a
stretch, wasn't it? Huh?
Back to the ties. Austin's in a tie mood today.
Well, I remember that I'd said to you guys that, you know, always keep your eye on ties. So I was like, well, I got to do my bit too. So check in the ties.
We do find some really cool stuff in this one. We once found a Smith's t-shirt.
Oh, that was so cool.
We sold it overseas in the end to a collector, the biggest collector of Smith's memorabilia in the world.
It was actually, yeah.
Yeah, it was featured in a magazine.
Featured in a magazine. Featured in Japan, in a show in Japan.
Yeah.
And I think we picked it for about £2.
It was £2 from this shop, and we sold it for $350.
Yep, straight to Japan.
It was like paper thin as well. It was amazing.
And the funny thing is, the chap who actually made it is not only a massive Smiths fan, but he also is a huge band kind of t-shirt collector. And he actually makes redos of kind of vintage shirts on vintage blanks, and has remade our shirt, which I thought was really cool too.
Yeah, he used it as a sort of prototype to make an exact copy, which is pretty cool. We see a lot of niche brands as well in Wales. It's quite an affluent city in terms of affluence, and So we do tend to find a lot of nicer brands. You can see as I was flicking through, it's a lot of even the high street brands. It's a lot of Marks and Spencers. It's a lot of like, what is that brand? Probably should have looked that up. Didn't. No, that's going to be a regret, isn't it? Thanks, Sos.
Google it.
You're meant to, when you see things, you're meant to tell me so that I can use my device.
At this point, there was so many things going on, and I think we were close to kind of closing as well.
Don't make excuses for your downfalls.
My downfalls are my downfalls. I take them on the chin and I move on.
They do a lot of collectibles in the shop as well. Toys, they fish out all the toys. And
oh, it's so expensive though.
yeah, really, they do price up on them. But it's nice to see. It's really nice to see such an eclectic mix in charity shops. Because you, oh, that tie looks nice. Didn't look at that tie, did you, Austin?
I did, it was Liberties.
Was it? I like Liberty's tie, but they're not the best of sellers.
No.
But yes, we're going back to the Whistles coat, I suspect. There we go.
The reason, which you can't see because of my natty camera work, when we were going back to this, it wasn't. It's really nice condition. It needs kind of the you know, a lint roll and probably a good steam. But to be really honest, one of the main reasons we keep looking at it was originally it was how much?
£6.
I think it was 10 or 12 on there.
Yeah,
and it's gone
price.
almost half price. So for £6 for a Whistles item across the board, it's pretty cheap. But for a coat, which I think was predominantly wool,
it was a size 16 as well, which is a great size because if you're a clothing reseller, especially women's, or if you just want the information, Whistles really does come out quite small, I find. So a size 16 is a great size 14, which is obviously a great size in general to sell. This also as well, Austin, obviously it's a very popular style, that double-breasted classic wool coat, but as you can just see briefly, it's got a detachable fur collar.
Yes.
Which is always a nice little feature.
well, because whether you like the first style or don't, it's optional.
It was an optional feature.
Yeah.
But no, it's generally in very nice condition. It just needs a little bit of a spruce.
I've got to say, this lighting, it's the same in a lot of these kind of charity shops with the fluorescent lighting. It does nothing for kind of like, it's not perfect lighting by any stretch for kind of, for example, photographing things or even kind of seeing the close-up details. But it was lovely.
It's
genuinely
that
nice.
fluorescent lighting, isn't it?
Sorry?
Fluorescent lighting.
Yeah, fluorescent lighting. Yeah, exactly that.
You are looking over it really well, though.
Only because, to be honest, this shop, once again, you'll find a lot of, if you've noticed watching this video, you'll find a lot of discounts. But what we found is they'll discount it, and what they won't tell you if there's anything wrong or if there's a hole. And we've taken items back because we weren't aware there was anything wrong with it. It wasn't a sold as seen piece, for example, as I said previously, and it's got 3 or 4 holes in it when you get it home.
I was standing really close to that rail, like it was really strange.
I don't know what to say about that, really.
It was really odd. I'm going to try and keep my distance from the rail.
Just watch the rail, lady.
Yeah. I love how you include paying for it. Like, you got, if it's not on film, then it didn't happen.
Yeah, because you know what? I also feel sometimes when you see some resellers specifically, this isn't like a diss or anything, but when you see some resellers on YouTube specifically, you don't catch every moment. So I'm like, did they get that? Did they not? How did that go?
Oh, yeah.
You kind of like piecing it together. What happened? Almost like a story. And as boring as it is, yep, guys, we bought the coat.
Or it was like, oh, we bought this off camera. And I'm like, yeah, did that really happen?
Yeah, exactly that.
You filmed everything apart from that 19-karat gold Rolex,
Exactly.
did you?
Yeah, it's so true. And even though that isn't the case, it just feels that way sometimes. I think we're just all so sceptical, aren't we?
And you got a nice free corn bag.
The really funny thing is the lady she was lovely behind the desk. She offered me, I can't remember what kind of bag it was, but she offered me what she thought was, inverted commas, a girly bag, and then proceeded to give me the sweet corn bag. So I'm good either way, though.
It suited you.
The sweet corn.
Yeah.
Did it? Okay, good call.
Yeah. It's because you look like a carrot.
I look like a carrot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Austin's got her own chair, just for everyone wondering where that reference came from. And then straight across the street.
So not only rude, but insightful too.
Straight across the street is, what is this, Margaret's?
Yep, something like that.
It's a Margaret's shop.
Just a quick question, and maybe put this in the comments, guys. please try and name the charity shops, the local charity shops to you, because honestly, they just blur to me, the names. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. And we've been in these thousands of times.
I think everyone just gets nicknames for their shops now.
Yeah. Mine is usually that one by there.
This one's normally pretty good too.
Yeah.
Oh, that was enthusiastic.
No, I think it's hit and miss. Once again, I think we've had more, not so much, than, great stuff.
This t-shirt here that Austin's just about to get brought down is by a quite popular brand. I'm not going to murder it by saying its name, honestly.
I haven't got
any strength. But they make the backpacks that everyone likes.
You know those like really...
Oh, I was just holding up some Birkenstocks. But they were the rubber ones. The rubber Birkenstocks don't retail for as much. So they're not hugely worth picking up if you find them. Those ones were £4.50. They were in all right condition. I would have got them for myself if they were my size.
These I would just disgusted at, price-wise. Sorry. I know it's for charity. I know it's cool, but like...
I think they're just really ugly shoes, though.
Not even that. They're like what do they call, like utility shoe, a kind of tactic shoe. And you know what? They were made from like nylon and like man-made fibers. I'm saying, so they wouldn't have been hugely expensive as a comparison to a Nubuck Timberland anyway. So to have £30.
We've also got a Timberland outlet.
Yeah, and once again, it sounds funny, but if you guys have kind of certain stores near you, or you will find you'll get a stream of those things kind of in the shops in and around you.
I always do pick up the Timberland combat boots, though, the classic work boots, if anyone's interested. I normally do quite well on them, between £50 and £60 for a used pair. I always pick those up for that reason, if they're the right price. Yeah,
the other thing is, like you just said, the right price. If you know for sure, like every time you get a pair, as long as they're good condition or better, you're going to get 50 or 60. You can get £10-15 not so bad. You can do it. Because they sell relatively quickly as well. That's the other thing. It's just always a good seller.
There's always a demand for them.
For sure.
They're quite high retail as well nowadays. Like I've been on the earth 100 years.
Well.
Excuse you. Do you find anything here, Oz?
I do not, Bethany, no.
I was just checking. Do you want to miss anything? They got a little furniture section in this shop, so I think Austin's taking you to the furniture.
Well, one thing I like about watching other people's YouTube videos in charity shops, especially places I've never been, is just seeing how random they can get. And this isn't particularly random, but it's a bit weird.
Do you remember when that used to be the clothes section? All the clothes are in there.
Yeah, that was the ladies, wasn't it, for a long time? It used to be a changing room, actually.
Back in the day. We don't do a huge amount of homeware stuff for anyone wondering. If you see anything that's like really good and we're just massive doorknobs, then put it in the comments. I do a little bit of homeware. I particularly like 1970s, 1980s, some like a bit of mid-century modern. That's just my personal preference or my personal style. So I find it easy to pick that sort of stuff up. But I don't really delve in anything much further than that. So I would be interested to get into that because I do believe variety is the spice of life. But it's one of those things I just have yet to learn. I do watch The Crazy Lamp Lady. She's an American thrifter for anyone who's interested in homeware thrifting, because she literally just does homewares, and she's pretty cool and knowledgeable, so if you're interested in that.
On another note, I'm just wondering if anyone knows how, why, or well, can I help in any way, shape or form for me to stop looking like I'm walking into any kind of strobe lit store every time we go into anywhere with fluorescent lighting. Please let me know. I think we have like a GoPro 8, maybe a GoPro 9,
maybe a GoPro 10.
It's definitely not 10.
Okay.
But yeah, just let us know if there's a reason that does that, because obviously I'll adjust so I have to. Sometimes it's not bad at all. Other times it feels literally, like I said the other day, that it's just a strobe light. So
this is another bundle shop for anyone wondering. It's the same brand of shop as the other shop in a different place. So they also have lovely bundles. All these Levi jeans are priced between £25 and £35, and they're all
Levi's
from a bundle. And I love a Levi, but if I'm honest, I like finding them in the wild and I like paying £1. That's just my preference. Otherwise I'm not that interested. They don't really excite me.
And to be honest, as a reseller, more so as a luxury reseller, if I were to do that, honestly, I would just buy a bundle of Levi's myself.
Yeah, look at
if I'm willing to pay those prices, because you'd probably come out about even anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not my thing.
There's a lot there, though.
There is. At this point, I think I'm looking at something else. No, I'm not. I wonder why I'd stopped there, because I definitely wasn't looking at those jackets, that's for sure.
I'm probably, I don't know.
Oh, no, I was.
Were you?
Yeah, I think I'm looking at hats.
You're really confusing me with this camera work.
Yeah, once again, very new to the whole GoPro thing, guys. So if you get shot, there I am looking at hats. That's what I'm doing. I knew I was being weird for a reason.
These are Barber hats. Barber, great brand. You're probably all aware of Barber. I do pick it out when it's cheap, if I'm honest. Wax jackets. I love their wax jackets. I always pick out their wax jackets. And these were no exception. Austin at first thought they were faded hats, but in fact, they were made of the same wax material that they make the coats from.
So you can see it's kind of that brush kind of wax material, wax leather.
Wax cotton, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Someone told me it was wax leather the other day.
It was wax leather. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But once again, these there were two hats there. The classic lining. I think they were £4.50 each. They're easy 20, 25, maybe even 30. Good condition. And yeah, two of them. So easy money, really.
The retail's between like 30 and 40, but sometimes I'm a bit cheeky and I'll put them up on eBay for 30 and just accept an offer. That way I always find, in the nicest possible way, that if people like offer me like $22.50, I'm more than happy with it, and they also feel good because they think they've got a bargain.
Exactly
so
that.
You know, sometimes I like to I play it in that manner, but to find two is pretty snazzy.
I think in the big scheme of things as well, like, you know, there's not a huge amount of work or even like packaging or boxing up, but they're pretty easy to ship out. They're cheap to ship. Like, it's a quick win, and they'll sell all day long.
Yeah. I agree with that. And also, Austin tried one on. It did look really nice. He refuses to keep it, but it did look really nice.
Don't get high in your own supply.
Don't get high in your own supply. We'll put that on a T-shirt. No one nick that. Can I copyright that right now?
Well, that's
Don't
actually a
get
quote
high
from
on your own
Scarface, so
supply.
I think we'd be stealing it anyway, but...
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, like, in the reseller stance.
Fair enough. Good call.
See? Here we go.
Thank you for my change. Once again, guys, if it didn't happen, you didn't see the till work, it didn't happen. That's a T-shirt.
That's not a T-shirt.
No, it's not. I take that
For
back.
me, eager to get out. That's the last one we visited today, and we'll do a roundup at the end.
The video here and talk about this skirt that we picked up, and we'll do a little sit down with the other items, but this skirt is very special. So I wanted to do a little what's the word? Close up.
Yeah.
A little close up of the labels and talk you through it, because for all intents and purposes, it's a brown skirt, but it's a very important brown skirt, and we did some research on it, and I just want to show you how important it is. So I've just got it under our studio lights. It's a knee-length pencil skirt, but I mean, that's not really important. And for this is the front of the skirt. So it's a cotton, 100% cotton, and it has these sort of like angular offshoot points. You thought this was the back of the skirt, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
And
Because the detail, I thought the detail would be in the front.
yes, which normally it should be really in theory, but because this is Mr. Thierry Mugler, he's made it plain in the front, and he's just done these angular points out the side, which if you're familiar or just have a quick Google of Mugler, this is his like iconic signature, is that he does like pointy shoulders.
Sharp edges, yeah.
Yeah, so if we flip it over, I mean, it's got these little gold rivets, which are really not that very exciting. And this is the back, so you can see why Austin thought
I'm not
it was
just
the
stupid.
front.
Well, I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid.
No. You can tell it's vintage just for how it's constructed, and the sort
studs.
of, yeah, the hardware used is very...
I don't know if the camera picks that up, but like even if you just show that stud again, just open slightly and just open that stud, like it just looks very like primitive with regard to kind of a popper. I don't know if anyone will think I'm mental for saying that, but do you know what I mean? It just looks a lot older. Let's put it that way.
And then obviously you can see where the points of the front come from. They come from these large style sort of utility pockets.
Like almost over pockets.
Which is very, it's not really very Mugler. If you look at his work, and you'll probably see from the thumbnail of this video that he recently did Kim Kardashian for the Met. Now, Mugler retired from fashion in the 2000s. He was very popular in the 90s and the 2000s. Wait, let me switch you over just so we... So Mugler was very popular in the 90s and early 2000s. That was when he really like boomed through the universe with his angular shapes and his sort of alien-esque type silhouettes. Hence his namesake, really, perfume, which is Alien.
That's actually where you might know him from. If you're not necessarily everyone would know that name from fashion. To be quite frank, it's not, you know, it's not that commercial.
No.
But yeah, Alien perfume is kind of what most people would know commercially for now.
Yes. So he retired in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, sorry, from fashion and completely stopped designing.
Like if Willy Wonka just cut off the chocolate supply.
It was like mental at the time. Anyway, he came out of retirement about 5 or 6 years ago to exclusively dress Mrs. Kim Kardashian. And a lot of people will think this is strange because a lot of people will not see Kim Kardashian as a high fashion figure. I mean, she is, you know, she does face of Balenciaga, all this, blah, blah, blah. However, he wanted to dress her because of her unusual shape.
Alien-esque.
She wasn't just tall and slim like all the supermodels were. She has this tiny, tiny waist, these hips that don't lie.
They do not lie.
No. And he dressed her and he did her for the Met. He's done multiple collections and he called her his muse.
Yes, true.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
You know? If you don't get that reference, then don't worry about it. And so he came out of retirement to dress that. And then, unfortunately, he passed away this past January 2022.
Yeah, recently.
So very, 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 very recently. Now, this skirt is special because... I'll switch you back around again. So the first thing I saw when I picked up the skirt was the label is on the other side because it's backwards. This is the label. So it says this is his signature Thierry Mugler. That's correct, isn't it? Now, most labels you'll see of vintage will be purple or like this blue lilac colour. And that will be a 90s, 80s label. This brown and gold label was only used for a very small amount of time. You've got the size here, which will be a French size. No, it would be an Italian size because it's made in Italy, even though it's a French designer. Yeah. You should always, if you're looking at international sizes, I find the easiest way to do it, because French is different from Italian, is if based on the country it's made in. Now, we were looking at all the labels. This is in German on one side and English on the other side. Yes? Yep. Or no, is it? Only use, English and French, I believe. I don't speak any of these languages.
I can't see it from here, but yeah.
Maybe Italian, actually. Anyway, so multiple different languages on this sort of like how to wash thing.
The care label.
The care label. As you can see from the backside of the studs as well, they're very, I know it sounds like a silly thing to say, but they're quite primitive. They're very early. They're not how a modern snap would be.
No, and just the size of them, like that kind of stud nowadays would be much bigger, much kind of more hardware and more chunky.
Yes.
Which tells you two things: one, it's old, but two, that it was high end at the time.
Yes. So obviously the price I saw Thierry Mugler, the price was £14.50, which is, you know, for a skirt, it's quite expensive. So they obviously saw the name and thought £14.50. Now, when I was in the car on the way home, I was reading this label. It's 100% cotton, you know, is what it is. Blah, 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 blah. And then the date of production is here. And it's the 26th of the 11th, 1973. Now, this is really important.
Why, Bethany?
Because Thierry Mugler's first ever collection in his namesake label, before previously he was designing for other designers and it was under not his name, was in 1974. So this skirt in my hands is from the first ever Thierry Mugler collection, which, if you're into fashion or you know fashion, that was like me saying this was Coco Chanel's first ever collection. It is as important as that.
The other thing, just to note as well, that if it was the first collection, 9 times out of 10, especially when they've kind of put their all into their own kind of brand, if you will, it's done, unless that back then it would have been done very, very, very in a small way, I'm trying to say. So you'd only have so many pieces, whereas, for example, when Marc Jacobs were designed for Marc Jacobs years later, it was a mass production thing. This was only a few pieces at a time.
It would have been
It would have been
capsule.
costly.
Yes. And also a very important thing about the fact that this is dated is it's dated. I have never ever in the history of my picking seen a dated piece of clothing.
I agree.
That literally, unless it was sort of like mass produced or whatever, I'm talking from a high end brand. The fact it's dated suggests to me that it was important from the perspective that he wanted it to, or it was dated per the production. It was the first production, you know, not a prototype as such. I wouldn't go that far, but perhaps because he had it made in small batch, it came from a smaller factory that used a date system as opposed to a big manufacturer.
100%.
Correct?
Yeah.
So this takes this. So that makes that skirt. So a Thierry Mugler, I would expect a 90s or 80s or even 2000s based. If it was just a normal, that's a very plain skirt.
Yeah, it is.
In theory, I would price around 150 to 200. If it was something exceptional or on the runway or a celebrity had worn it, the price goes.
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends on the piece, but it can double, triple, quadruple, whatever.
Yeah. So Kim Kardashian's last post with Pete Davidson in it. The first shot, she's wearing a pair of Thierry Mugler sunglasses from 1992, which are featured at the Metropolitan Museum. Those go for anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000.
That's for one pair of glasses, just to can put that in context.
Yes,
because I would guess. Sorry to interrupt you, but I would guess the fact they're a museum piece to start with. On top of that, now whether you do or you don't like Kim Kardashian is a thing, that just the price goes up.
It goes up again.
It just doesn't matter. It just does.
So I would price a plainer skirt around 150 to 200 based on no previous history, etc. Now, because this is a 70s label, I would have priced up regardless. So if it was a 70s label with no time date on it, I would list it personally for 400 to 500.
Yeah, I would be around right there.
Because it would be very early and very collectible. And
to be quite frank, it sounds really funny, but that as a piece of clothing, to be quite frank, obviously you have the shape, you have the kind of the lines as Bethany made out and showed you, very, very, very Mugler-esque if you want.
Yeah.
What I would say further to that though is because it will be the first one of the first collections or the first collection of his namesake brand. That for a collect, it's not something you just buy in because you want a brown skirt or you want to have a designer brand. We sell luxury items all the time, as you guys know. That is to go into collector. That's going to someone who's interested in the piece as opposed to the piece to wear. If you understand what I mean.
So we go into the four figures, because it is dated before his first collection, his first namesake collection, where that tag would have been used. It says to us that it was used in the first collection in 1974.
When we say used, we mean it was part of the collection.
Part of the collection, or selected for the collection, or produced for the collection, even if it wasn't used in the collection. I would list it. I'm going to use Versataire probably. Vestiaire, sorry, I always say it wrong. I might keep it for a little bit and talk to some people about it. But
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say we have a friend in Paris, just on the outskirts. Which if we ever go back and forth with fleeing, which we do, we're not fleeing from the country, but doing fleas, that would be really awkward. Back and forth. He does loads and loads and loads of what I call kind of vintage 60s, 70s, 80s luxury. And we just sent him a few pictures. And I mean, he's pretty hard to wow, isn't he? He sent me a message back just to say, wow. For him, there was, I think we're talking, quite a few pounds. And he made us an offer, I'll be honest, it was in 4 figures. We said we're going to kind of see how it plays out first.
I'm going to keep it for a minute.
Yeah.
But if I were to list it for sale, I probably would put a silly price on it just to see where offers come in at.
Yeah.
I'd probably start it at 1,400 and take offers over 1,000 purely because of that tag. Now, what I'm saying, the learning lesson from this before my arm goes completely dead, is just because it's a design label, I mean, that's good anyway. But because it is a designer label, please do back history. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have time or whatever. Right. Let me do it for you. I love it. Send it to me.
Us, for sure.
Because if you can find someone wearing it, if you can date it, if you can time it, if you can tell you who designed it for the company. Austin, yeah, you take, because my arm's like going.
I'm just going to be reading someone now.
For example, just briefly, because I don't want to make this a really long video again. For example, I just sold a John Galliano dress for Dior. He designed for Dior for a brief period of time before he got fired, controversially.
No comment.
And a dress from that era of time in the 90s, it was far more popular than the collection after it. So you're going to get more money, but just because it was John Galliano than it was Dior. So it's worth researching the time period of the label, work out who was the designer at that time.
Yeah.
And then you can date it. Then you can probably find the runway collection because Vogue have extensive records online and you can watch runways.
As you just said though, drop us a message.
Or drop us a message.
I'm not saying we know everything about everything, but we know a lot about this stuff. Do you know what I mean? I would say just ask, and if we don't, we'll tell you we don't know. But I think one of the main things, which sorry if I sound croaky today, my throat is going for some reason. But I think one of the main things for us, which we've done over the years, is just because there's a label, and you're like, oh great, that's a label, that's expensive. Like it can be 10 times what you think it might be, just because of the era or the designer who was in charge, or the creative director at the helm at that specific point. So boring, I know, but research.
I'll do another little bit on Instagram for it in case you're an Instagram watcher and you want a little bit of label history. That'd be pretty cool. And I'll do some Cartier stuff. But other than that, we're going to go downstairs now and talk about
the other bits we picked up.
Thank you for listening to me. To sum up our day of picking, we just got what's left of the haul. And we only got 4 items today.
In total, and two of those are the same.
And that's 2 towns. So it just shows you that not every day you find like 25 billion things, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think like it's not being a busy fool. Pick cleverly, you know. There might be things in the video you see and you think, why didn't they pick that up? And I'm not saying I was totally right not to pick it up, but it's just how we work and what we do. And
we got a boot sale video coming out next, which will be ultra fun because I always watch other people's and like
we may actually have 2 coming out.
2 boot sale videos.
Yeah.
Oh, we will have 2 boot sale videos. Right, so first up, just to reach for the nearest thing, we got 2 of these. Let's hold one each. Share.
Okay,
share.
Share. I know the light's going to be great.
No, we're testing out the light and what we can get away with because we've got these 2 really cool ball lights and they look really nice on, but I don't know if the lights.
If it looks terrible and it annoys you, just say. Yeah. And we've got like big like
lights in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So, Austin saw these, didn't you, Austin?
I did see these. That's why we have them.
And you thought they were faded?
I thought if you look, they look kind of, they just look faded. There's no 2 ways about it.
But they are not, are they, Austin?
No, they're not. They are Barber wax jacket caps.
However, I think these are wax cotton. I know some of the jackets are wax leather, and those are obviously the dons. But I think this is waxed cotton.
No, it is.
Yeah.
But do you know why I know that? It says outer 100% wax cotton.
It's like I made them.
Basically, these were in the charity shop for, just to sum up quickly, for £4.50 each. Like Bethany said, you get waxed cotton, you get waxed in wax jackets. They also do Barber do wax leather, which is generally the more expensive because obviously it's leather as opposed to cotton.
Yeah.
But they do both. And these hats are specifically cotton. I would guess just because of the give and so on, leather's a lot harder to kind of be as kind of
on
tactile. Exactly. The lining is pretty cool on these.
That like Barber check that you get the scarves in,
and the inside of the jacket usually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It isn't the lining.
It is. I just.
That's not like I was being rude. But I wasn't being rude.
That would make more sense than saying scarves.
Scarves, yeah, but they do scarves in it also. So they were just kind of quick. They're not going to make thousands of pounds or anything. But like I don't know, we spent £9 on 2 of them. They'd probably do 20-25 each.
Well, I just looked them up. So Austin will insert the combinations here.
When you do that, it just makes it so much more.
I did look quickly. I couldn't find any soles because there's a lot of flat caps and like bucket hats at the moment. But there are many listed, and they come in like blue and green, yellow, and they don't come in yellow at all. They come in blue and green and black and things, and they are listed comfortably at £30 a piece.
There you go.
I would take offers over 20 because just.
So like I said, if you're talking about £4.50 a hat, and then you're looking at between 25, 30. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. I just think it's a good, easy pickup. And as I said, I think previously in the video, just to put in a kind of a poly bag, or double up if you double up to be safe. I think that's a really good small out.
I just realised I've got another cap that we sold right behind me.
Oh yeah, we might show that one day.
I'll do a sold video maybe. Anyway, let's wrap this up before I
people
just
want to go to sleep and just like I don't know, even if it's like 2 o'clock.
So this is the said Whistles coat that we found.
Do
you want to model it for us?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Nope, not at all.
It's a classic. It's a classic wool navy pea coat. I call them pea coats. That's probably the wrong terminology completely, but I found some comps for them. Pea coats from Whistles are listed quite nicely. They're listed between 100 and 125, like roughly, which is like lush, right?
Yep.
Luscious. But I could only find solds of about 50 to 60 pounds. They were smaller sizes, so they were size 12. We will put them here, I think. I'll send them to Austin. And ours is a size 16, which is slightly more peeling.
Yep. What I'm trying to work out, sorry guys.
What he's trying to work out is how to put the fur collar attachment on.
I'm just going to pop it off for a second. Not going to pop it off, but it's loose. So if you see it flapping, it needs to be buttoned on. There's like 5 different buttons. But the label, you can see the button just there. It's just regular Whistles. It was originally 10 down to 6.
I can't really resist for £6.
It's lovely as well, isn't it? It's a very nice
I don't
coat.
I don't like picking up Whistles at all. But yeah, it's a nice. Oh, there we go.
Double-breasted. Sorry, team.
I think we're gonna have to work on these bits of the videos. I think.
Yep. Well, hopefully, if my footage gets better in the actual video, this won't be so much of a problem.
So it's a navy blue double-breasted wool pea coat in a size 16
with a double
from
pocket.
Whistles with a little double pocket situation. Anyway, so I will put those stock photos here, so you can actually see a nice picture of the jacket we
as opposed to me holding it.
Price-wise, I'm going to start it at, I think I'm going to put it up for 75.
Because it's wool. I'll be honest, the other thing I don't know if I mentioned is wool.
Yeah, the other one was wool and then it went for 50, but we're going to probably give it a wash.
It's a good size, like you said.
And make it look sprucey.
Lint, steam, the usual. It's actually really nice condition. I think it's just been... stored somewhere for a long time.
I think it's worth more than £50, basically, even though the comps say so. So I will take offers over 50 just to get it gone. But £6 into 60 isn't too bad. And then obviously you've got the caps as well. So what, we paid £9, £15 in total for those 2 items. And I would expect a return of 60, 70,
well over
80,
100
90,
pounds.
100, about 100.
Yeah.
And then obviously I haven't included the beautiful Mugler skirt because that's just of its own creation. But that is a roundup of this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had lots of good feedback on the first video, and I think we're just going to come more unhinged as we go along. So
it's happening already, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like the first video was a bar that we will set to go under.
Yeah, if you're expecting better, probably not. We'll do our best.
It's not going to happen.
To be honest with you, I think in closing, like you said earlier, we picked a few little bits, and the last kind of items we picked over and above the Mugler skirt. To be honest with you, if we hadn't gone to that separate town, it would have been 1 item in the whole town, and we did like 4, as you've probably just seen, 4 or 5 shops. It's just not easy. It's not always easy, and I know it kind of comes across when I say that to be negative. It's actually the other way. I'm trying to be really positive. That if you go out,
we should do that. We should do a positive point with Austin.
What?
You have to do a one positive
That's hard
point
work with
every
me, I'll
video.
be honest. No, what I'm trying to say is though, I think people, if they can get one thing, that's actually really good, because it's not that easy. And the more people tell you, oh, I just got this and this just sold, and for a lot of resellers, that's all you see.
And I think sometimes I really want to stay away from, in my head, picking up things because I want to get something. And I want to resell something. I think, well, like you said, we're wrapping this up, so we won't go on too much. But honestly, I think that's a really good point. Sometimes we've been in the situation, you have that kind of, it's almost burning a hole in your pocket, and you're like, oh, I need to come away with something. And sometimes the worst thing to just take your money home and buy a beer or something. Could be worse. Maybe don't buy a beer. I don't. Okay, wonderful. So we'll see you again tomorrow probably for some boot sailing. And then we'll probably see you the next day for some boot sailing. And then we'll be back in the charity shops.
Cool.
Because that's all we do with our lives.